So I know it's been a crazy week, it's been a crazy month, it's been a crazy year. I feel like that's the understatement of the century. But I want to thank you first and foremost for taking time out of your day to come to the first of what I hope is many more TWF Lunch and Learns. I know in my email that I shared with many of you this week, I'll be sharing what TWF stands for a little bit later. But first, I kind of wanted to go over what you can expect over this next hour or so. So Petros, if you can go to the next slide. First, I'll be going over kind of the inspiration for today's Lunch and Learn and of course sharing what TWF stands for. And then it wouldn't be a lunch and learn if we didn't talk about lunch. So I'll be sharing a recipe that a friend shared with me earlier this week. And then in the middle of today's presentation, I'll be going over today's main topic, which is the American Cancer Society's Women Researchers campaign that I'm currently an ambassador for. And then we'll talk about a small business that is here in Pittsburgh. My friend Sarah Sadaka from Healing Roots Massage and Wellness Center is here. And then, of course, we will have a call to action, which I think is obviously very important at the end of any of these lunch and learns. I feel like it's very important to kind of end with what we, go over what we learned today and also encourage you to go out and kind of do something about it. So next slide, please. So this week you all got either a text or a phone call from me kind of explaining my idea for today's Lunch and Learn. It may have seemed kind of crazy that I talked to some of you just only 2 days ago, and then today here we are having this Lunch and Learn. It may have seemed like I kind of threw this together and kind of just went with it. But the truth is that this is something that I've really been thinking about for the past couple of months, the past couple of years. If I'm being quite frank, I've always wanted to do something similar to today's Lunch and Learn. But I think in the past, I've always thought about going about it using the wrong medium. So many of you know, for a very long time, I had the idea of doing a podcast. And if you go to the next slide, Petros, the reason that I wanted to do a podcast was because I love telling stories. So if you click the space button, Petros, I love telling stories. I love hearing other people's stories. I wanted to educate myself on a lot of the topics in today's world that we're kind of seeing in the media, we're seeing in our communities. I also love sharing ideas with friends. So I know my friend Sarah, who you'll hear from a little bit later, I feel like every single time I have a conversation with her, she's constantly sharing a new idea of something that I can do to help kind of take care of myself through meditation. Connection is really important to me. I love meeting new people. Going back to the storytelling, I love hearing their stories because I truly believe we all have a story to tell. And I thought through, the podcast that I wanted to inspire people to kind of, take action, inspire them to get to know their neighbor maybe. And all of this could have been accomplished through a podcast, but the last word that just appeared on your screen is community. And I think that's something that you can't accomplish, at least personally, through a podcast. I know I love listening to podcasts, Brené Brown, How I Built This, those are some of my favorites, but I never get to see the people presenting. I never get to really connect personally with the other people listening to those podcasts. So community is really what I was after. And I would say community and connection is what I was really after. And that's why I thought these Lunch and Learns would just be a great way to bring all of my friends together, because I was just telling Petros this morning, I am so grateful and I'm so lucky to have all of the friends that I have in my life. And each of them brings something special to my life and to their communities. And that's why I really want this Lunch and Learn to be a friend effort. Even though I may be facilitating them every month, I really want my friends and members of the community to share what they're passionate about and what they're working on. So this idea of naming the Lunch and Learn is something that I actually heard from my fiance Petros. He was working with a consultant a few months ago, and the consultant advised him, anytime you're working on something, you should really try to give it a name to make it more official, let's say. And I kept trying to think of what I wanted to call this Lunch and Learn. And as many of you know, obviously this is Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who we lost a few months ago. I kept on seeing this quote appear, and I was very familiar with this quote before her passing. My sister actually gave me a picture frame with this quote in it that is on my dresser, so I see it every single day. And a few weeks ago, my sister-in-law actually gave me a mug with this quote on it for my birthday. So the quote reads, "Fight for the things you care about in life, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you." And if you go to the next slide, we know that Ruth Bader Ginsburg fought for so many things that we kind of take for granted today. And the night of her passing, I was scrolling on Instagram and I saw Brené Brown post this picture. And if you look at the second comment that Brené left on this post, it says, "Today we mourn, then we fight for the legacy she left us." And I kind of transferred that to today we mourn, tomorrow we fight. I think if we all take a minute right now, we could probably think of a moment in time where we can think of a day, an evening, where something happens, we kind of stop, we take a deep breath, we reflect, we may mourn, and then we wake up the next morning, the sun rises, and we fight for the things that we truly care about. My mom actually sent me a quote earlier this week, and it said, "Go to sleep with a dream, wake up with a purpose." So each of us kind of have something that we're all fighting for that we really care about. So we may fight for justice. We may fight for our health, both mental and physical. I think we're hearing more and more about how our health doesn't start from the neck down, it also includes the neck up. We fight for equality. We fight for our happiness. We fight for common ground, which is something I think we're all fighting for more and more, especially in this more polarized world that we live in. We fight for family and friends, and this may look very differently. My sister, for example, she's in the insurance industry, and she always says that she wanted to help people. And she found through the insurance industry, she can help people by making sure that they have insurance to cover the things that they care about most, to make sure that their friends and their family are taken care of. And most importantly, we fight for kindness. I don't know if my friend and future cousin-in-law Theo is on, but he's a preschool teacher, and he is constantly teaching his children about kindness. And I think we can all use a little more kindness in the world. So as you can see, a lot of these things are political and personal. And if you go back to the last slide, Petros, I kind of want to point out the logo that I created for these Lunch and Learns, which if you look at the logo at the bottom right-hand corner, when I saw this, I kind of thought it looked like a dissent collar, which, you know, Ruth Bader Ginsburg wore a lot of in her lifetime. But it also looks like the sun is rising. So like I said, sometimes we go to bed with a dream, we wake up with a purpose, the next day the sun rises. So like I mentioned, I really am hoping that you all enjoy today's Lunch and Learn and we can kind of make it a monthly thing. So I wanted to share with you what you can expect. So everyone is welcomed. I want you all to have had such a good time today that you share this with your family, with your friends, with your girlfriends, with your boyfriends, with your husbands, with your wives, with your coworkers, whoever you want. Everybody is welcome. What we'll be going over each month will be a lunch recipe. We'll do a main topic, either presented by a friend or we can bring in a community member from a group that we may be interested in learning more about what they're working on. And then I think it's important too to kind of shed light on our small businesses. I think this pandemic has taught us that we really need to look out for them and support them. And like I mentioned earlier, there will always be a call to action. So I'm hoping we can do this the first Friday of every month. And until we can meet in person, we'll be here using Zoom. So before I jump into today's lunch, hopefully that inspired some of you and hopefully it got you excited and kind of got your wheels turning about different things that you can present in the future months. All right, so let's move into the lunch portion of today's Lunch and Learn. So this recipe is provided by M. Kyler, who is from Empowered Nutrition. She actually just started her own business. She is a registered dietitian and will hopefully be doing a Lunch and Learn topic in the coming months. My idea is that whenever you register for future Lunch and Learns, whenever you get your registration link confirmation, that the recipe will be in that email and we can all kind of enjoy the same recipe and lunch together. So today's lunch recipe was Mexican quinoa wraps, and I'll be actually sharing this recipe in a follow-up email over the weekend. Awesome. All right, so the main reason I wanted to bring everybody together today is to talk about the American Cancer Society's ResearchHERS campaign, and notice that it is ResearchHERS. That is on purpose because in 2019, if we go to the next slide, the American Cancer Society launched their inaugural ResearchHERS Women Fighting Cancer campaign. It is a fundraising campaign, but more than that, it's kind of a movement. The American Cancer Society recognizes that, women really are invaluable when it comes to this type of research. And it's important that we keep funding their research and kind of bringing their research to the forefront of the world. So as an ambassador for the greater Pittsburgh region, I have committed to raising $2,500 by the end of the year. So December 31st, 2020, I have to raise $2,500. In addition to that, it's really just bringing awareness to the campaign. I know Petros and I were talking this morning. I asked him if he had ever attended Relay for Life. So kind of just bringing awareness to what the American Cancer Society does, more awareness to the ResearchHERS campaign, and just promoting you all to kind of look into the American Cancer Society a little bit more. So a few quick fast facts, which I thought were kind of interesting and were 3 things that I didn't know before becoming an ambassador for this program. The American Cancer Society is actually the largest private not-for-profit source for cancer research, which they're right behind the government, which I had no idea. They have funded 49 researchers who have won the Nobel Prize. However, none of them have been women. Yet, half of grantees are actually women for the American Cancer Society. So as an ambassador, I was contacted by the executive director of the greater Pittsburgh region. And as soon as he told me that he was, obviously from the American Cancer Society and was looking for people to kind of raise awareness about this campaign, I was 100% in. And it's really for 3 main reasons, maybe even 4. So the first is, this is a picture of me and my grandma. She was a 40-year cancer survivor. And this was me probably when I was about 4 years old. I'm pretty sure my mom sewed that outfit for me. You can see my sister in the background with, I think, one of my cousins. But this is us at a local Relay for Life event that the American Cancer Society hosts, all across the country. So my grandma would attend this event. My mom and I would go with her every year. And for those of you that may not be familiar with this event, there's always a survivor walk. So anytime, all of the survivors from that area, they are the only ones allowed on the track, and, they walk their one lap together. And my grandmother did this like well into her late 80s. And, she was, even if she finished last, she always finished the race. And then there's a point at the event where they turn off all of the lights, and all of these bags that you see that are at our feet, there's a candle in them. And they turn off all the lights, and then all of these candles are shining through these bags, and they illuminate the field. So my grandma and I would always walk around the track, and we would make sure that we would find her bag. And these bags are in honor or in memoriam of people who have either survived or have unfortunately lost their battle to breast cancer. So this is one of the main reasons that I wanted to support this campaign. Obviously, since breast cancer runs in my family, I want to continue supporting, cancer research, because Marie Claire King, who, founded the really, the important research about the genes that can be kind of passed through generations. Obviously, that's important to me since, like I mentioned, breast cancer does run in my family. So in honor of my grandmother being a 40-year cancer survivor, to get the campaign started, I actually made sure I donated $40 to my campaign just to kind of get the ball rolling. The second reason I wanted to support this is because when women support each other, incredible things happen. Women empowering women, I'm all for it, I'm here for it. And I, of course, cannot turn that down. Third reason is because, I really do believe in equality. And I think we're seeing more and more that, women are stepping up and proving that they can do anything. So this is just kind of some statistics that the American Cancer Society shared with us. So as you can see on the left-hand side, medical school department chairs by gender, only 19% are women, 81% are male. I don't need to read you all the other statistics, but I really think it's important that we kind of, still fight for that equality, like Ruth Bader Ginsburg did for us. And, I don't have it listed here, but the other fourth reason I'd say is that, there's a lot going on in the world right now, but cancer research still has to get done. And I know the American Cancer Society has shared that their funds have decreased, as I'm sure a lot of nonprofits across the country and the world are also reporting. But it's really important that we continue to support the causes that we are passionate about, just to make sure that we're not missing out on a whole generation of cancer research that could have saved, thousands, if not millions of lives. So how can we fight for women researchers? So the first thing you can do is you can donate on a current ambassador's website. So I've included my personal fundraising page there. I'm currently at $554. So as you can see, I really need your help. I'll be honest with you. I need to raise about, $1,900 more. I know some of you on the call have already donated, so thank you so much. I have a pile of thank you notes over here that I need to put in the mail this weekend, so thank you. You can share the movement on social media. So you can highlight women researchers that maybe impacted your life, that you've heard about, like Marie Claire King. You can even share your own story using the official hashtags that I've listed here. And if you are interested, the Greater Pittsburgh region is actually looking for more ambassadors. I know that they have set a goal of $25,000 by the end of the year. So if you know anybody who is very passionate about this topic and would like to become an ambassador, feel free to let me know, and I'd be happy to connect them with somebody. So before I move on to the small business portion, that was kind of my presentation on the ResearchHERS campaign. I'm happy to answer any questions. If not, we can move on to the small business portion. Okay, so as I mentioned, crazy year, crazy month, definitely a crazy week. I think we all could kind of take a deep breath and relax a little bit. So that is why I have asked my dear friend Sarah, who brings so much light and joy to my life. So Sarah is the owner of Healing Roots Massage and Wellness, and she is here to kind of talk about her business and kind of the different services that she offers.
All right, thank you, Bethany. So I wasn't totally sure what I was going to talk about today, but Bethany inspired me with her discussion of storytelling and the importance of storytelling. So I'm going to kind of give some background on how I got into my business. So I was previously in the hospitality industry and became more and more involved in my yoga practice, was getting body work regularly, and I started noticing shifts in my ability to function with less anxiety and just feeling more present in my body. So I went into body work, became a licensed massage therapist, and started my business with the intention of helping other people in the same way that I was helped. I feel like these are really good tools, and a lot of people just aren't aware of them. We're not exposed to them as readily as like traditional medicine. So I think being able to access massage and meditation in a safe space with providers that are understanding and can meet you where you are with your needs can be really life-changing. So that was my intention with opening Healing Roots, was to be able to provide people that type of space. And I can remember when I opened the first couple of months, I was obviously super stressed and overwhelmed, and my sister told me, you don't even know what it is yet. You don't even know what your business is yet. And that really stuck with me. And it's something that I've always reflected back on, because especially now I'm back in school for my master's in social work, pursuing bringing therapy into my business. And so I just think that's maybe a takeaway for everyone here, is that sometimes just holding the intention for something is the most important part, and you may not have the roadmap totally laid out, but just remembering that intention is of utmost importance. So with all that being said, that's kind of the background on my business. The services that we offer are massage, Reiki, meditation, and yoga. We're mostly focusing on Reiki and massage right now. And if anyone has any questions about Reiki more specifically, you can reach out to me. I know Bethany will be providing you information, but essentially Reiki is working with the energy body rather than the physical body. It's a non-invasive kind of service. It induces a lot of relaxation, and it can be really helpful for emotional distress. During this time, it is a very amazing service to have, considering all of the anxiety we are experiencing. People really experience a lot of benefit from it. We do a membership program. Bethany can attest to that. She's been a member for probably about a year now. So with that membership, essentially you get a $15 discount off of every service. It's super flexible. And everyone who is here today, I would like to extend a special on our Reiki. So if you go online and decide to book a session, just indicate that you attended the Lunch and Learn, and we'll do a special rate, $20 off of the service. So I would love to meet some of you in person and have you at the space and let you experience Reiki and potentially massage for those of you who have not ever had massage either. Does anyone have any questions?
Sarah, can you talk a little bit more about your classes that you used to offer as well? I know they're not being offered because of the pandemic, but I know I attended one of your chocolates and chakras events and I loved it.
Sure. So we used to do regular kind of workshops and group classes, and would kind of focus on, say, the one Bethany is referring to was related to working with the chakras. We've done some that are specific to restorative yoga. We've incorporated music. We've done past life regression sessions. We've done multiple crystal workshops. So those are something that I'm hoping to be able to offer again in the near future. It was always nice to bring the community together in a really intimate space, because our classes were smaller because of the space that we had. But mostly the classes that we offered are more geared towards restorative kind of healing, versus I think when people think of yoga, they mostly think of an active vinyasa, a hot yoga room, and that's not necessarily what yoga has to be or is. Yoga is essentially the ability to connect with your body and your breath and the present moment, and the physical postures are a tool for doing so. So if in the future you were to come to Healing Roots and experience a class, just know it's not going to be, you're not going to be standing on your head, or you probably won't, leave drenched in sweat, but it will be a really kind of introspective experience. Will be very healing. And what I also like about the classes we've offered in the past is that they're super accessible. You don't need to be, you don't need to be actively practicing yoga or, again, be able to do a headstand. It's more about making it accessible for everyone, and the classes we offer do that.
May I ask another question?
Please.
Can you share what the letters mean after your name on this slide?
So LMT is licensed massage therapist. RYT is registered yoga teacher. And crossing my fingers, there will be an LCSW in a few years when I get my license to practice social work. So stay tuned.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And fun fact, I've actually been a member for 2 years now. So I've been getting my monthly massages from Sarah since December 2018, which is crazy to think about.
I did not know it was that long.
I know, time flies when you're relaxed.
Love it.
So I think on the next slide, we're doing a giveaway.
Sorry, I was muted. So if anyone can answer what the significance behind Bethany's $40 campaign donation was, we will be giving you a $25 gift card. So don't all jump at once.
There for me to participate.
Hi.
I can give a hint. It has to do with her grandmother and how long she survived cancer.
And the reason Julie can't participate is because she is currently visiting us from Hershey. So thanks for coming, Julie. Nobody wants a gift card?
I was going to wait and see if anyone was going to take it, because it was easy when I saw it. Your grandma's 40-year cancer survivor.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. Thanks, Becky. Good job. So Becky, I'll be sending you a $25 gift card to your email. So be on the lookout for that.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for participating. And thank you, Sarah. So yeah, I definitely recommend you all check out Sarah's business. And like she said, she'll be offering a $20 off to anybody who's interested in trying out Reiki for the first time. So I'll be sharing more information about that in a follow-up email. So thank you, Sarah.
Thanks, Bethany.
All right, so we finished a little bit early today, which is totally fine. This is just something new that we wanted to try, so hopefully you're all kind of getting good vibes from this. So if we go to the next slide, At the end of every Lunch and Learn, there's going to be a call to action that relates to the main topic of today's event. So I put some links here for all of you if you're interested in learning more about the American Cancer Society. I put their website there, and it's a really good website for resources to learn more about the different types of research that's going on. If you are experiencing symptoms of any sort, this is a really great source. I was on a webinar a few weeks ago, and they talked about how after Chadwick Boseman unfortunately lost his cancer battle, the amount of people who kind of flooded the American Cancer Society website was overwhelming to learn more about the type of cancer that he had. If you are interested in volunteering, there are a lot of great volunteer options for you. Relay for Life is one that I mentioned earlier. You can actually create your own team, and you can all, camp out for a night at the Relay for Life event together and raise money throughout the year for your specific team and your local American Cancer Society chapter. There's also Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walks that happen every October. So I definitely recommend checking those volunteer opportunities out. And there are plenty more to consider. And then if you are and able to donate, even if it's $1, I'll take it. Anything matters. Every dollar counts. And you can visit my link here that goes directly to my personal fundraising page, where I share more about why I'm doing this. I go into more detail about my grandmother and her fight with breast cancer twice. I don't think I mentioned that earlier. She actually had it twice and survived both times, thank God. So that's where you can learn more about my personal involvement with this campaign. And last but certainly not least, so this is something that I learned when I was doing phone banking during this election season. They encouraged us that whenever we were talking to citizens, we were encouraged to ask them who are 3 people that they are willing to text or call and make sure that they were registered to vote, make sure that they got their mail-in ballot or they had their voting plan for the day of. Just because like the psychological component, I guess, of that, if you can say the person's three names, you're more likely to reach out to them and encourage them to do something. So that is what I am challenging all of you to do today. If you enjoyed today's webinar, well, Lunch and Learn, please tell 3 friends. I know I'm going to be calling my friend Demi, my friend Mark, and my friend Allison to hopefully attend next month's Lunch and Learn, which will be on Friday, December 4th. If you all enjoyed today, I encourage you to come back again next month. I'll be sending out a follow-up email, and in that email, I'll link to the recording of today's Lunch and Learn. I'll link to all of Sarah's information, and I'll also be providing a sign-up link. So if you are interested in presenting a topic of anything, I think I saw that Chris was on. If Chris would like to talk about Cousins' books in a future Lunch and Learn, that would be awesome. Sarah, I think you mentioned that you wanted to talk about how you've been working with refugees in the Pittsburgh area. Becky, I don't know if you want to talk about, I think your story is so fascinating about moving to Pittsburgh from Hong Kong. I know we've had many deep conversations about that. So like I said, the topics can be personal, they can be educational, they can be political. Everybody has a story to tell. So I encourage you all to start thinking about the stories that you would like to share and sign up on that link that I'll be providing. So if there aren't any more questions, I want to thank you all for attending today's Lunch and Learn, and enjoy the rest of your Friday afternoon, and have a great weekend. It's going to feel like Southern California this weekend in Pittsburgh. So hopefully where you are, there's lots of sunshine too.
Thanks, Bethany.
Thanks, Bethany.
Thanks, Bethany.
Bethany.
Hi, thank you. Great
Thanks,
job.
Bethany. Thank you.